They told you that hard work fixes everything. They told you that if you just grind long enough, sweat long enough, and sacrifice enough sleep, you'll win. But look around. Millions of people have worked themselves to exhaustion and still live small, tired, unfulfilled lives. So let's face a truth most won't dare to speak. Hard work fails when hard work is blind. Hard work alone is not your golden ticket. It's the shovel. You can dig faster with it, but if you're digging in the wrong direction, all that effort just gets you deeper into the wrong hole. The world doesn't reward effort. It rewards clarity, strategy, and belief. Hard work is only powerful when it's pointed toward the right purpose. You see, hard work has become the religion of the average man, the excuse for why things haven't changed. I'm working hard, he says, as if effort itself guarantees transformation. But the truth is, people confuse activity with achievement. They're busy, not effective. They burn energy, not build momentum. Hard work fails because it's often driven by fear, not faith. Fear of being broke, fear of judgment, fear of falling behind. So you chase motion to quiet the fear, but the fear remains. You move, but you don't advance. You're constantly in motion, always tired, rarely transforming. You've mistaken movement for progress, and it's costing you everything. Napoleon Hill taught that thought. Not toil is the origin of success. He said, there are no limitations to the mind except those we acknowledge. Yet people spend their lives acknowledging every limitation except the one they secretly hold, the belief that effort without vision will save them. It won't. Hard work without direction is like sailing without a compass. You can row until your hands bleed, but if you don't know where you're going, you'll only circle the same waters. Some of the hardest working people on earth die with regrets, not because they didn't give enough work, but because they gave it to the wrong dream. You want to know why hard work fails? Because it comes from a mindset trained to survive, not to conquer. Society taught you to labor hard for others' goals, not to think deeply about your own. You were praised for effort in school, not for initiative. You were told to obey, not to imagine. And now every day you repeat the pattern, doing more of what doesn't move you closer to what you want. You cannot work your way out of confusion. You can only think your way out. The average person works to escape uncertainty. The successful person works to build direction. The difference? The first works for approval. The second works from purpose. Let's be clear. Hard work matters, but only once you know what the work is actually for. Strategy comes before sweat. Belief comes before effort. Hard work is the amplifier of alignment, not a replacement for it. Every great empire began in a mind long before it existed in the world. Every fortune, every innovation, every revolution started with thought, not labor. Thought created the plan. Work brought it to life. You can't start with the hammer if you don't first have the blueprint. Yet most people spend their lives hammering, building beautiful structures around broken ideas. The truth is, success is not about how much effort you give. It's about how intelligently and intentionally that effort is focused. You can't outwork ignorance. You must outthink it. You can't outgrind uncertainty. You must outplan it. That is why endless hustle without inner clarity becomes exhaustion without elevation. Think of it. How many people do you know who work harder than anyone else, but their life never changes? They wake early, they grind, they sacrifice, yet they never escape the struggle because they never stopped long enough to ask, is this even the right mountain? You can spend your entire life climbing only to realize at the top that the ladder was leaning against the wrong wall. Hard work fails not because effort is bad, but because effort cannot replace awareness. If working harder was the secret, every construction worker would be a millionaire, every nurse would be a mogul, every teacher would be a tycoon. But the gap between effort and reward is filled with one thing: strategic intention. The people who rise aren't those who grind the most. They are those who align the most. They know when to pause, when to pivot, when to partner, and when to delegate. They mastered thought before they multiplied effort. Hard work fails when your heart isn't in it. Hard work fails when you're trying to prove your worth instead of fulfill your purpose. Hard work fails when it becomes your punishment instead of your passion, because energy without emotion is just exhaustion. Let's look at the people who changed the world: Edison, Carnegie, Ford, Hill himself. They didn't glorify busyness. They glorified belief. Edison failed 10,000 times, yes, but he wasn't just working hard. He was guided by a thought, a definite purpose, a crystal clear why. That thought pulled him through failure until work became reward instead of sacrifice. Every person has two types of energy, the physical energy of effort and the spiritual energy of intention. When you align the two, mountains move. When you separate them, nothing works. You cannot grind your way to greatness if your mind is set on mediocrity. You cannot outwork your deepest disbelief. You must change the thought before you double the effort. Otherwise, you'll just run faster in circles, getting nowhere with greater speed. Hard work without inner belief is slavery to limitation. But when belief and desire unite, work becomes a joyful expression of vision. Then your effort multiplies, not diminishes. It becomes creative, efficient, magnetic. You were told to work harder. No, work wiser, work aligned, work with definiteness of purpose. Napoleon Hill wrote, "A definite purpose backed by a burning desire is the starting point of all accomplishment. Not labor, not endurance. Desire first, direction next, discipline after. That's the order." Pause right now and ask, why am I working so hard? For money, approval, security? If your answer comes from fear, your reward will also be fear. More scarcity, more instability, more struggle to maintain. But if your answer comes from purpose, to build, to create, to elevate, then your reward transforms. Work becomes service. Service becomes success. The reason hard work fails most people is that it's disconnected from meaning. You can only sustain effort when it's fueled by emotion, not obligation. When purpose drives you, fatigue can't stop you. When vision defines you, setbacks can't control you. The secret to enduring success lies not in the hours of the day, but in the power of belief. What you truly believe governs what you attempt, and what you attempt governs the universe's response. Hard work fails when it tries to replace thought instead of serve it. But hard work guided by a clear thought, by a purpose so strong it burns through every obstacle, that kind of work never fails. Because that kind of work isn't just labor, it's creation. So stop trying to work harder than everyone else. Start thinking sharper than everyone else. Learn faster. Plan deeper. Act with precision. Build the blueprint before you break your back building blindly. Success rewards not the one who sweats the most, but the one who thinks the smartest, moves the fastest, and refuses to confuse activity with advancement. You can work endlessly, climbing uphill, but one shift in thought is like finding the elevator. That's the power of purpose-driven effort. That's the power Hill understood, that a man's thoughts, not his labor alone, are the true architects of his fate. And in that truth lies your liberation. The day you stop glorifying busyness and start commanding your direction is the day hard work begins to work for you, not against you, because hard work doesn't fail everyone, only those who refuse to think before they begin to move. Think first, believe deeply, then work like a warrior with purpose sharpened to a point. That is the kind of labor that never loses because it's guided by vision and powered by faith. That is the work that changes worlds.